What up, you guys? Empress of Duality here. For those of you that are joining that may be new or might not know, my name is Brooke. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to the Love Vibe Tribe. I do have a new microphone ordeal going on, so y'all let me know if you can hear me, please. And I'm gonna wait a little bit for my tribe to come in here. Let me share this shit real quick. Calling all Love Vibe Tribe members. Okay. No. I'm so excited to connect with you guys. I miss y'all. I was feeling y'all a lot today. I have been feeling y'all a lot recently. So I hope y'all come hang out so we can connect, so we can talk, have some conscious conversation, exchange some motherfucking energy, inspire each other, lift each other up, exchange some motherfucking love. Okay? Hold up. Do some readings for you guys if you'd like. Get y'all some clarity. Because listen, I've had to have my friends help me lately, you guys. And like I said, when y'all come in, let me know if you can hear me. Because I got a new mic. I feel y'all coming. I feel it. I have a song stuck in my head. It's by Will Smith. It reminds me of my dad. It's called Just the Two of Us. Just the two of us. Just the two of us. Y'all know that song? Anyway. Listen, tribe, what did I tell y'all? When Empress of Duality goes live, and y'all get that notification, I'm gonna need y'all to click that bitch. Like, bow. Getting ready. Okay. Do I want music tonight? I kinda do. Let's do instrumental. Let's do R&B. How about that?
Energy is all there is.
That is true, girl. You're right. So, okay. Hold on. I'm coming, y'all. I am coming. I still don't see any comments. And I got a new mic, so I need y'all to let me know if you can hear me. But you know what? I'm just gonna roll with it. Hi, Jana. Can you let me know? I got a new microphone. Can you hear me okay? Is the sound coming through good? And hello and welcome. Good to see you. I'm gonna get started with the energy update in just a second. I have a couple things in mind. What up, babe? Listen, girl. Okay. Much better? Okay, good. Good. Babe, the mic sound good? Yeah? Okay, cool. Alright, so let's get started. Those of you that ain't showing up, y'all just gonna have to watch the replay. So I have a couple of ideas in mind for some of the current energies that are going around through the collective that is affecting us individually. Yes, thank you, babe. Danny fixed the microphone and everything. So now I sound good. The aesthetics looking good. The sound sounding good. The vibes good. Yes. I know, right? You see that, babe? I did that myself. Oh my god. So I like this music, but homegirl, whatever she's doing, I ain't really here for that. Okay. Oh, what's up, what the dudes? Good to see you again. Good to see you again. So my idea for coming on tonight, what I wanted to do is I wanted to connect with you guys. I wanted to bring us together and then allow spirit to kind of pick up on you guys' energy, my own energy, what I've been going through, what you guys have been going through. And as we step into the space together, I wanted to allow spirit to let any messages come through that would help you guys. But since there isn't too many people in the chat just yet, instead of intuitively going off the chat for a little bit, now if the chat picks up and people start stepping into the space and we can connect and create this bridge, this mirror, and the messages come through for you guys specifically, that would be awesome. That's what I wanted to do. I'm still going to put that intention out there. But for now, let's talk about some of the energies that has been going on within the collective. I almost feel like I'm waiting for something. Do y'all feel that? Like this energy of, for a lot of you, it's wintertime, right? There's like a stagnancy. It's cold, it's still. Feels like you're being prepared for something, like we're waiting for something. This music, like, you need to get it together. You two. What's happening? Love you, Mike. And yes, y'all let me know what's been going on. How are you guys doing? You know what? We're just gonna say fuck the music because I can't find anything. So, regardless of, it's just really obvious where I am because it's winter and the seasons, they really do reflect the energy that the planet, like the energy of the planet, the frequency of the planet, the transitions in frequency, the ascension periods, the periods of integration, you know. And good. I'm glad you can hear me a lot better. It was a little rough there for a bit, huh? Mercury retrograde came through and just fucked everything up, to be honest. So whether it's in our relationships, with work, with our friends, with our families, with our tribe, there's a few key points that have been highlighted recently. And a lot of the shadow work that is being asked of us on a collective level, we're all feeling it. And it's all the same energy. It just shows up differently pertaining to each individual. And a few of the main energies I have been experiencing, and, you know, through talking to other tribe members, through people, and just through witnessing other people in their lives, there's been two main energies that I have seen. One of them being obligation, the other one being expectation, and also that inner work that we've done, the shadow work that we've done, especially over the last few months, the healing that's taken place, the purging of emotions, the reframing the ideas about ourselves, reframing the ideas about our relationships, about our life, about our purpose, about our mission. My ears ringing. We've been reframing all of these ideas. And when it comes to the reframing, when it comes to identifying the limiting self-beliefs, the ideas and expectations of yourself that have been placed upon you from other people, from stereotypes, from conditioning, when we go into really dismantling all those ideas, dismantling all the stories and all the obligations tied to those stories, all the expectations tied to those stories, what happens is when we start to dismantle those realities, those truths in our mind, we then have to purge or dismantle or transmute, transform the emotional energy that we have built up to those truths, to those realities, to those limiting self-beliefs. And the past few months have just been like this darkness within darkness, right? I keep talking about that. Spirit keeps bringing that up. And if you didn't see my other videos, I would definitely suggest you go watch those just for the activation alone. You don't have to understand a motherfucking word, y'all. But the energy, the frequency that has came through in the last two videos, it activates consciousness. It activates the subconscious, which leads me to my next point. These limiting self-beliefs that you have, that we have as a collective, the emotional codependency to our perceptions, right? We get these ideas in our head and we label them as truth. And then we believe it to be truthful and we put all this emotional energy into it. And we see that energy manifest. Well, another part of this energy is not only the obligation that our thoughts put us under, the obligation that the people in our life put us under, but also subconsciously, especially if you're an empath. Shout out to the empaths in here. Oh, I feel for you, baby. Okay, all of the empaths, man, I know y'all have been feeling it. For the past few months, it's just been like waves and waves and waves of highs and lows and highs and lows. Even waves of, let's see, last month there was this wave of like anger, right? Just like anger and frustration and stress You could feel it as an empath in the collective, and individually there was just this stress that we felt. And a lot of that stemmed from the uncertainty that's going on in the world collectively, and that shit. The collective belief, no matter what your individual belief and stance is, the collective does have an influence over this reality, and we are connected to that oneness, right? So even though you personally may have had some challenges, but you've been able to trust in spirit, to have faith, to believe in yourself, to identify when you are straying away from your intuition, when you're getting caught up in the distraction, caught up in the ideas of everyone else. But us empaths, man, if there's anything I've been learning is that it is a time right now on the planet for empaths especially, man, you gotta put yourself first. So another energy that's been coming up, obligation, expectation. I'm gonna go back to the subconscious in a minute. And boundaries. Okay, empaths? We're gonna speak to the empaths for a fucking second. Okay? Because the empaths on this planet, y'all need some love. Y'all need some appreciation. Man, half of the empaths, I would say at least like 80% of the empaths that walk on this planet, and the healing that y'all do, a lot of it goes unnoticed by people in your lives. Even people that you connect with on a spiritual level sometimes. You're not going through the same wave at the same time. You and your friends. You know, they're on a completely different wave, a completely different frequency, and you're over here feeling everything. Feeling the anger, feeling the stress, feeling the uncertainty, feeling the pressure in your relationships, the pressure within yourself, feeling the grief, the shame, the anxiety empaths. Have y'all felt the anxiety lately? And it just all becomes so much for the empath. For the souls that are connected to source. So this is a reality of duality, meaning even though you have your sovereignty on this planet, you get to set the rules for the game that you play here, even though you get to do those things. Being connected to your feminine energy, being connected to spirit, being connected to the whole means that sometimes we have to feel things that aren't directly personal to us. And empaths, this is the lesson that Spirit wants to share tonight. Why you have felt overwhelmed. I would love to hear if y'all been feeling this. So please let me know in the chat how this is resonating, how you understand what Spirit's talking about right now. But what I have noticed myself and with other empaths is that the past few months, and let's even do the past year, there have been energetic highs and energetic lows. There have been energetic overwhelm, emotional overwhelm, mental, psyche overwhelm, or there have been burnouts, energetic burnouts, and it's just like teetering between the two. It's like I'm either feeling good, powerful, expanded, I'm feeling the light, I'm feeling source, I'm feeling love, I'm feeling inspired, passionate, or I'm feeling completely drained. Like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm on the right path. I don't know if I'm making the right choices. Now, while these highs and lows, the duality, the contrast of that kind of journey, that's the journey that it's been. It's this journey through duality, the depths of duality. And why that's helpful when you hit peaks and you hit lows is because the contrast between the peaks and the contrast between the lows it creates this mirror, you guys. It creates this mirror, this ability for you to not only see within yourself where you lack boundaries, where you hold yourself obligated to other people's energy, to other people's shit, to other people's problems. And for the empath, that's challenging because your heart is so big. And you feel the potential within you that you can give all that you want to give. You have a lot to give, man. But the mirror lately, the mirror of the contrast between the energetic highs and the energetic lows, that mirror is boundaries. For you readers out there or people that do energy work, healing work, when you have clients, you ever notice that right before a session you start feeling their energy, feeling their anxiety, maybe their nervousness? Intuitive readers. Now I'm talking about readers, but a lot of you empaths, some of you don't even read. It's just intuitively you walk around and you can feel the weight that people are carrying. Let's go to the subconscious part real quick. This is what fucks me up, y'all. Being 100% honest, this is what fucks me up. I am empathic and I am so intuitive. My feminine energy, my portal to source, my ability to channel, my ability to trust my heart, my ability to have a connection to intuition that is so profound. Check, 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 check. My connection to be able to feel things. Check, check, check. But when it comes to the structure, when it comes to balancing that feminine energy with my masculine energy, that intuitive nature with the productive structure of it all, right? We get the downloads, and I feel like I'm jumping around, but I'm just going to flow with it. We get the downloads, we feel all the shit, our abilities pick up on things, but we lack that structure, that organization. It's almost like for some of you, for some of us empaths, for some of us way showers, light workers, we become a slave to our gifts. We become a slave to filling other people's shit. We become a slave to even the intuitive information. So what do I mean? What do I mean when I'm talking about that? Becoming a slave to our gifts, becoming a slave to our empathic abilities, becoming a slave to feeling it all, man, right? Let me put it to you this way. You have conversations with people and they're saying one thing, but intuitively, subconsciously, they are saying something completely fucking different. And it's so challenging to navigate in, empaths, and I get it. But when it comes to balancing that feminine, intuitive nature with the structure of it all, as you hit those energetic highs, as you hit those energetic lows, as you experience the contrast, as you practice in it, you will begin to learn how to construct that ability in a way that is serving to you, in a way that has boundaries, right? Because there was a little while in the past few months where like, I didn't even want to be around people, y'all. Because every time I went somewhere, all I could feel was people's stress, people's anxiety. And the most challenging part for me, the most challenging emotion that I felt from people was the grief, man. And like there was a time where like it was just hard for me to be around people because I didn't understand when to expand my energy, expand my feminine energy, and when to call my energy back in. Because as empaths, you know, we have that heart and we have the ability to see through what someone is saying and connect to their subconscious. Ha! Here's the thing about that. And I know y'all know what I'm talking about, man. When somebody, like, you ask somebody, are you okay? How are you doing? Oh yeah, I'm good, everything's fine. But like, you feel nauseous. They're telling you, they're like literally looking you in your face and they're saying, yeah, I feel good. I've had a good day. I'm fine. Da 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 da. And then like as they're telling you this, you're getting like nauseous, anxiety, feel like you're gonna throw up. Like, y'all know what I'm saying? Oh my God. And then when we pick up on that, we feel obligated to help it. We feel obligated to help someone. We feel obligated since we can see it, since we can feel it. We feel obligated to take responsibility for it. And when we do that, not only is it a disservice to them, but it's a disservice to yourself, you know? I want to read these real quick. Nicole, yes. I feel my own overwhelm with all I have to do alone. I'm a single mom. I started to do boundaries, but people coming at me, including kids, boyfriend, now ex. And that's how it seems to work. That is the bitch of it all. It's like, okay, spirit, I see that I'm getting energetically overwhelmed and energetically drained because I'm not standing in my power, in my masculine energy, and directing that these boundaries are in place with myself, with my energy, with my sovereignty. And then as you do that, as you're like, okay, spirit, I get it. I see the contrast. I see what you're reflecting back to me. I see the lesson. The lesson is that I have to structure my abilities. I have to create a foundation for my gifts to be able to serve others and myself for the highest good without these highs and lows. I have to balance it out. And you're like, okay, I'll start standing in my power. I'll start speaking my truth. I'll start saying no, spirit. That's what we say. I'll start saying no, spirit. I'll stand up for myself. And then what happens? Just like Nicole said, all of these people come at you. Challenging, testing you. Are you really going to stand in those boundaries? Can you not sacrifice yourself at the obligation of someone else, at the obligation of your own gifts? Can you hold those boundaries solid, no matter who it is? No matter how personal the connection. And that's the thing. Spirit will take the people that are most personal to you and to test you, to see if you will stand in those boundaries of self-love, of integrity, of honesty, and be honest with people about how you feel. This is too much for me, you know? And the hardest thing for us empaths is you're talking to this person. Let's say it's your friend, man, and they're leaning on you, you know, they're saying one thing and subconsciously they're saying another thing, and you hear both stories. You hear the story that their mind has created to protect them from their shit, and then you hear the subconscious cries of all the things that the mind is protecting them from that's actually hurting them, hindering them, making them suffer. But they don't want to deal with it, so they suppress it into their subconscious, but you can hear their subconscious cry for help. You can feel the emotions that they're suppressing. Then you feel obligated, right? Where was I going with that? I forgot. I don't know. Y'all know what I'm talking about, though. A slave and it takes us over. Yep. empaths. Empaths and saying no. Empaths and creating boundaries through self-love. Creating boundaries and balance. Creating boundaries with our gifts. Because listen, when you tap into those gifts, when you tap into spirit, and you get around people that aren't tapped into spirit, their subconscious will try to latch onto you. It'll try to grab you and say, help me, you know, take these emotions for me, I don't want them. And you have to, within yourself, out of self-love, say no, which is hard. You have to say no to your kids. You have to say no to your parents, to your family, to your friends, to work. Because if you don't, it will lead to like a self-sabotage and self-sacrifice. And then that doesn't help anybody. Hi, Aisha. Good to see you, love. So I got some channel messages. And since we're on the subject, let's talk about them a little bit. Okay. And you know what? Before I go there, y'all pay attention to the challenges, the things that you're being challenged with. For some of you, it is feeling obligated to do things, feeling obligated to sacrifice yourself. And if you can't see where you're sacrificing yourself, but you do feel, you resonate with the fact that you obligate yourself to do things, that you should say no more, I invite you to look into it a little deeper and see why. Why is it you have a hard time saying no? Why is it that you feel obligated, not even consciously, subconsciously obligated to give and give and give? Obligated to give to people that aren't even giving in return. And it's not that you do these things with an expectation that people are going to reciprocate the energy, but it's also boundaries of self-love when you recognize that what you are giving is not being reciprocated. That's love, right? And admitting that to yourself, for some of you, admitting that there are some people in your life that you keep going in loops with, over and over and over again, obligated to them out of love, obligated to them out of guilt, obligated to them out of shaming yourself, and see where that comes from. Also, if you would like a reading, there is the link. But I had no real intention for tonight. I just wanted to get on and talk to you guys a little bit. Share some energy. Let you know that you're not alone, that you're not crazy, that like the shit that you've been feeling is real. And it gets even more confusing as an empath. Like the best thing that I've learned, you guys, when it comes to the overwhelm and the burnout, is really paying attention, tapping into my intuitive energy, my heart space, my psychic space within myself, and just like asking where my energy is, what it looks like. Is my energy like loud and taking up space, or is my energy like right here, like right close to me? And when I go out, you know, maybe calling my energy in, or if I've been out around a lot of people, if I've spoken to a lot of people, if I have exchanged energy with a lot of people, texted a lot of people, had phone calls, talked to clients, talked to friends, after I do that, calling my energy back in Because when we connect with someone, you can just imagine like a cord is established between us. And that even happens in thought, you guys. You don't have to physically connect with someone. You can connect with them through your mind and establish a channel of communication, a channel of energy exchange. So when you know that you've had a lot on your mind, or when you know that you've had a lot of people on your mind, when you know that you've been connecting with a lot of people, drawing your energy back in and getting back into stillness, that really, really helps when you're an empath. Finding a flow of breath work, and I did some in my last video at the end. Breath work, you guys. It is the medicine for anxiety, for anger, for grief, for all of it, right? And if you can slow everything down, all of the obligations that you think you have to do, all of the obligations to your problems, I gotta fix this, my relationship's under pressure, I don't know if I'm gonna have a job tomorrow, I don't really have a place to live, I don't have money to pay this bill, I got all these challenges, all these problems, and these problems create uncertainty within my mind, and that uncertainty of how I'm gonna fix the problem creates emotions of distress, of stress, of insecurity, of overwhelm, of drain, trying to figure it all out. When you notice that things are under pressure like that, you really have to tame the ego, tame the mind, and get back into presence, into the stillness. Because as humans, we've just been conditioned to do, figure out, fix, survive. And this type of being has gone on so long on the planet that we do so much all the time. We try to figure out so much all the time. We're trying to just survive all the time that it becomes so distorted and imbalanced that will to get things done, that will to survive, gets manipulated into being self-sacrifice, self-sabotage, obligation, expectation, and it drains our energy, being stuck in the mind. So when you notice things are under pressure, when you're feeling all of your shit, you're feeling everybody else's shit, you're having conversations with people and what they're saying and what you're feeling from them intuitively are two completely different things. It's like you're talking subconscious to subconscious, but they're talking, saying, their stories about their life. That's a good time. That's a good sign to take a step back in stillness, in feminine energy. And that's also the energy that's been going through the matrix. That's the energy that we've been in. The epitome of divine feminine energy, the epitome of darkness within darkness, the epitome of the dark night of the soul. And what happens in the dark night of the soul? The ego goes on a journey of the unconscious, the subconscious. The ego, with its darkness, aka with its lack of understanding, its lack of clarity, goes into the subconscious realm, into the shadow, starts to journey what is in that shadow. And sometimes get lost in it. That will to explore self, that will to discover, that will to awaken to things about yourself, about the planet, about your life, about your mission, about your purpose, about your gifts, about your journey. if you don't tame the ego and bring the mind of man back to the stillness of spirit, you get lost in it. You get overwhelmed. You get drained. And as you practice balancing that masculine energy, the doing, the constructor, the builder, the proactivity, and you balance that with the feminine, which is the stillness, the intuitive knowings, the intuitive guidance. And when you can be that bridge between the doing and the being, the imagining and the creating force, and you can be that bridge and function from that place, you have to have boundaries, right? We're talking about boundaries and expectation and obligation. If you feel obligated in your life, you can't blame that on other people. If you feel like these expectations are placed upon you, if you feel like people take advantage of your heart, people take advantage of your love, of your generosity, there comes a point where you have to take responsibility for your part in creating that dynamic. And that's why I invited you earlier, if you feel that way, to really explore it from within. Where from within Brooke is creating this dynamic, because it's very easy to say, oh, they're just an asshole. Oh, they just take advantage. You know? Maybe I just don't need to be around them. If I just stop being around them, if I end this relationship, if I change my job, if I do this, if I do this, if I do this, then. But sometimes the answers that you seek are within yourself. And if you see that you have a lack of ability to set those boundaries with people, it's a good reflection of when you're doing that shadow work. The ego, you haven't set a boundary with the ego, with the mind, not to run the shadow work, not to run the show. And then when you step into the shadow work and you don't have that boundary with the ego just takes control, and then the ego gets triggered. And then when the ego gets triggered, all fucking hell breaks loose. And then you're confused. You're disoriented. You don't know which way to go. You have a lack of motivation. You don't know if you're on the right path. You don't feel good enough. So having that boundary of saying no, even to self, no ego, no, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to do this today. No to your friends. No, I don't want to go do this today. See how many things, you guys, when you go out tomorrow, or when you go out tonight, or whenever, for the next week, see how many things you do out of obligation. Every time someone asks you to do something, go into the body. Someone's like, hey, Brooke, you want to come go to Subway? Hey, Brooke, you want to come with me on a car ride? Hey, Brooke, you want to have dinner tonight? Hey, Brooke, you want to watch a movie? Hey, you want to pick up the kids? As soon as someone asks you a question, feel it in your body. Your body will let you know if your intuitive answer is a yes or if your intuitive answer is a no. And see how many times when you're asked to do something, do you intuitively feel no, but then your mind obligates you to do it anyways. Play with that. So we just talked about empaths. We just talked about how setting obligations with the external world, that's been a thing that's coming up. Setting boundaries with work, friends, relationships, your partner, okay? But the roots, those are just the manifestations, okay? Those are just the constructs of your psyche playing out in your reality. Those are your beliefs playing out and manifesting in your reality. So when you bring all of your energy back into stillness, into your feminine energy, and you start to take a look at it, the core of that obligation runs deeper than the people that hold you in that obligation, that the people that reflect that obligation back to you, reflect that expectation of your love. Those are all just the manifestations of it. But it's bred from a place that's deep inside of you. Some of you don't have boundaries with the ego, where when something comes up, when the ego is triggered, it goes into fight or flight mode and survival mode. Do. Figure it out. Rely on other people to help you. I don't know what to do. And it just spins out of control. Some of you, the boundaries within yourself that are maybe could be a little stronger are when something does happen. Your relationship's under pressure, or you're in a relationship and something happens. The relationship ends. The boundary of self-love in that situation is not to pretend like nothing happened. You know, some people, instead of grieving the loss, instead of admitting that they invested in that relationship, they invested their love, they invested their mind, their heart. Instead of admitting that they are hurt, they go into either a victim mentality, a lack mentality, victim mentality, blaming their partner. If they would have been this way, we would have worked out. They go into unworthiness. If I was just this way, it would have worked out. If I did this, if I would have been this way, it would have worked out. Or they go into denial. They deny in their mind the feeling that they really had with that person. They deny how much they cared. They pretend like they don't care. They brush it off. They laugh. Some people get angry, frustrated when a relationship ends or it doesn't work out, or a job ends and it doesn't work out. They go into denial within their mind. And the boundary in that situation of self-love, the boundary of self-love that your feminine is holding the blueprint for, but your masculine must stand in, must assert. The authority of those boundaries must be asserted through your masculine energy. And when we lose those things, when we lose a relationship, a friend, a job, sometimes people go into what we just talked about, when really the truth of it all, it's almost like they go into a protection in the mind. They're willing to feel frustrated. They're willing to feel unworthy. They're willing to blame another person. They're willing to blame themselves. They're willing to go into those emotions. They're willing to get pissed and yell and scream. They're willing to be angry and alone. They're willing to be depressed. But they're not willing to grieve. And that is the boundary of self-love. You grieve your losses. But you have to admit the truth in it all first. And you have to be willing to go into the grief. Remember, I read a meme one time, and it said something along the lines of, your anger is really grief with a mask. And it's true. There's love and grief. There's love and loss. There's birth and death. That's it. And there's a whole spectrum of emotions in between those two. But it's either grief or love. It's either birth or death. And some of us are willing to go into anger. Some of us are willing to go into shame, into guilt, into unworthiness, into obligation, into expectation, into punishing ourselves, into punishing other people, but we're not willing to grieve. That's where the anger comes from. That's where the frustration comes from. That's where the unworthiness comes from. And the boundary that needs to be in place with those people and with yourself is unconditional love. Meaning I accept myself. I accept what I have invested. I accept that I need to grieve what I have lost. Same thing with shadow work. When that part of you, when you go into the shadow, that darkness within darkness, that lack of understanding of the unconscious, and you begin to shine a light on it, to define it, to understand it, the mind starts to understand what's in that shadow, what's in that unconscious. As you do that, you go through the spectrum of emotion, but as you heal that part of you, the grief, and bringing that through the body, that's the healing. And that is the piece that a lot of us miss. You grieve that old self because that old self got you to where you are. But we're in constant judgment of our old self, constant judgment of other people, of ourselves, of our obligations, that we would rather just punish ourselves, sacrifice ourselves, only worry about surviving. So here's where I struggle as an empath. When you're connected to unity consciousness, when you're connected to the collective, when you're connected to the feminine and the masculine within, it connects you to the whole, connects you to the collective, connects you to the oneness of our energy. And where I struggle is I feel, when I tap in, I can feel that the emotion sometimes that I'm feeling isn't mine, but it persists me. And I set up these boundaries where I'm like, not right now, collective, not right now, family, not right now, friends, not right now, Danny, not right now, my dog. You know what I mean? I set up these boundaries. But then it persists me. Right? So then I'm like, well, Spirit, you told me if I set these boundaries that I would stabilize, I would harmonize my frequency. That's what you told me, Spirit. That was the lesson of the highs and the lows, of the burnouts and the overwhelm. The lesson was a lack of self-respect, a lack of self-boundaries. I'm implementing those boundaries, but the energy of others, the energy of people around me, the energy of my challenges, the energy of external things are still overwhelming me, are still draining me. And then I go into like this victim mentality. What am I doing wrong? What am I not doing right? How do I fix it? What do I do? How do I figure it out? And then when I let go of that, when I just surrender to what is persisting upon me, even though it's external, when I've set those boundaries and it still persists, that's showing me and reflecting that resistance within myself to something. So when I slow everything down and I get back into the stillness of it, then I get to uncover and discover where I have to take responsibility for the way my life was manifesting itself. So since we've been talking about empaths tonight, and you know, empath, the ability to be empathic isn't isolated to feeling. It isn't isolated to feeling the emotions of others. It's layered. The ability to be empathic, what comes with that is not just feeling the emotions of others and sometimes taking on the emotions of others and sometimes living out the emotions of others, but also the ideas, the thoughts, the projections of others. And if you don't have those boundaries within yourself of honesty, trust, surrender, getting in the stillness, if you don't have those boundaries, not only will you be overwhelmed with the emotion of it all, or drained by the emotion of it all, but it will start to place ideas in your head, distortions in your head. Sometimes these ideas come from people in your life. Sometimes these ideas and the emotions come from external energies in the energetic realms. However, the thing that I had to take responsibility for is that yes, those things were manifesting in the people I was around, and they were manifesting in psychic attacks. I was being psychically attacked. I swear, y'all, every single time I went out around people, I either felt like sadness, grief, stress, or like I was being psychically attacked. Like, that's how I felt. Hi, Gina. I was hoping you would stop by. It's good to see you. I love you. Tanya, what's up, love? So good to see you guys. Oh yeah? Thanks, Nicole. It's the Moonology deck. So there's one more piece of this. Obligation and expectation, self-sacrifice, energy. You know, even though it was manifesting for me through lack of boundaries with people in my life, needing to say no to certain things, to certain people, and then also being psychically attacked. What I had to take responsibility for, and what Spirit invites all of us to take responsibility for, is the fact that we are the creators of our realities. We are the ones that attract these things. And, you know, if you've been feeling that way, where within you is accepting it? And that takes some time. That's a journey that you go on. It's not like, I mean, it can be. It's not, but it's not like you just sit down, tap into spirit, into the stillness, let go, and everything becomes clear. Sometimes it's a journey through self, a journey through the shadow, a journey through the unconscious. And as you journey, you begin to become more aware. You begin to awaken to certain things within you that are attracting these dynamics in the physical realm and in the psychic realm. And once you find those things, they keep you locked and looping in obligation, in self-sacrifice, in lack of boundaries, in unworthiness, in victim mentality. As you go on the journey and you discover what within you is creating the loop, and you take responsibility for it, accept it, find compassion. So you have to take responsibility for the part in you that is creating these dynamics. And just a tip, you guys, a hint to where within you is creating that loop of suffering, of obligation, of anger loops, addiction loops, sex loops with people, dysfunctional relationships with people. The hint and where within you that is attracting it, somewhere that you can explore that may uncover and awaken you to the part of you that's creating that loop. Is to go back and look at some of the choices you've made. Some of the choices that you made that went against your self-respect, went against your integrity. The choices that you made, probably just trying to survive, just trying to get by. The choices that you made, just trying to deal with the emotion. The choices that you made, just trying to get out of your head from all of the chaos, all of the beliefs about your life. We've all done things that we aren't proud of. And the choices that you made that hurt you or that hurt other people, if that is not healed within you, and you're still carrying shame or guilt for those choices, maybe you've had a layer of it come up, but it's another layer of it. Did you, sometimes it's a process to grieve. Just like when you lose somebody, or just like when you lose a relationship, you never forget that love. You never forget that time. Sometimes you have to grieve things more than once. So those secrets that you hold within yourself that nobody knows about because you're too ashamed to tell anyone. The choices that you made that make you feel unworthy, that make you doubt yourself, that make you not trust yourself. Yes, you're probably not that version of yourself anymore, but on a subconscious level, right? Us empaths, we talk about being able to hear people's subconscious. That's a pretty good sign if you're hearing people's subconscious and you're talking to them, to talk to yours. That there's something within your subconscious that maybe you need to hear. You need to witness. You need to hold. You need to grieve. You need to love. So with the energy that's going on, when it comes to the obligation, go back. And this is going to be challenging for some people because some of the things we've done, we stuff so far into our subconscious that we can barely remember it. Or some things that we've done, we stuffed so far in our subconscious and made up a story that isn't really the truth of what happened, but it's a story we've told about what happened that we even began to believe. Breaking that down, getting real present in it. The conversations with people that you keep putting off. It's all this reflection of that lack of boundaries, of self-love. Self-love and integrity is being honest. And that even your past will haunt you. Maybe there's some things in your past that you are not capable of admitting at the time, but it's been years, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, and a part of you in your mind is like, oh, I don't need to talk about that. That was so long ago, like, does it even matter anymore? It does. It does. And out of self-love, that part of you, the version of you that made those choices deserves to be honored as she was, as he was. Deserves to be honored. It deserves your acceptance, your compassion. For a lot of you too, those energetic highs and energetic lows, they come from a place within you that's very deep in regret and shame and guilt. Past choices. And they'll haunt you, You may have a story in your mind that says, oh, this doesn't matter anymore. Explore it. Don't just think about it in your mind. Those things from your past that nobody knows about and it's been so long now that does it really even matter, or those things that you keep in your head and you don't let it out for anybody, not even to yourself. Those things, those choices that you've manipulated the story into a story that feels a little bit better than the truth. Those are the parts of you that really teach you unconditional love. Those are the parts of you. Those are the parts of your shadow that initiate you into heart frequency. If you can look at the things that you've done, the things that you haven't done, the times you've sacrificed yourself, the times you've hurt yourself, the times you have hurt other people, the times you have lied, the times you have cheated, the times you have stole. When you can look at those things, we all have things that we are not proud of, that we tuck down and we don't talk about. But when you can bring those things to the surface in acceptance and love, that is your initiation into the heart space. The heart space is forgiveness, compassion, Christ, conscious, unconditional love frequency. And without that contrast of shame, of grief for the past choices, for the things that happened to you, for some of you, the energy drain that you feel, the lack of this is a challenging one. For some of you, there are things that you did that were never properly grieved and never properly healed that still block your heart frequency from free flowing. There are some of you that had things done to you that was never properly grieved, never properly accepted, never properly forgiven. There are things that happened to you that you never shared with anybody. Because in your mind, you tell yourself, oh no, you wouldn't be accepted. There are things that you've done and things that have happened to you that you feel are so taboo, so disgusting, so unfathomable. There's no way to rationalize or justify what you did, rationalize or justify what happened to you. So you don't talk about it. And it just sits there and it breeds this distortion in your mind. It breeds this distortion in your emotions. It breeds distortion in your reality, in your relationships. It creates separation within yourself and source and spirit and people that you love. It creates that separation. Bye, Aisha. Thank you for stopping by. I love you. And these are not easy places to go into, you guys. And you don't have to do it alone, but you have to trust spirit enough to just go there. Even by yourself at first. Those things that you carry deep inside that you don't talk about, that happened to you, that were done to you, that you did to others, that you did to yourself. The ways in which people sacrificed you, sacrificed your body, the ways you sacrificed you. Those aren't easy things to go into because the thing is, there's your part in it all, your personal experience of those things. And then there's also the collective of humanity. It's not your fault that you did those things. It's not really your fault that those things were done to you. That is just the vibrational set point of humanity. And it will express itself. It will manifest. But you have to go through you to get to the we. You have to go through and grieve for self. And then you get to see that there was no reason to shame yourself to begin with. It's just the evolution of humanity. There are parts of humankind, of man, that are still really lower vibrational, that are manipulative, distorted, inverted. And it's within all of us. But as you heal yourself, you shift the vibration of humanity too. And that's the work that we're being called to do, you know. Not all of you, not everyone. And that's why there are people like me and Danny, Jessica, the Whispers of Grace Healing. There are people that go and do this work and build a structure, a safe space to hold for you to awaken to those parts of yourself. You don't have to do it alone. There are people, good-hearted people that can hold safe space for you while you explore yourself, while you discover and uncover things about yourself. So, those messages kind of took a turn. But you know what? It is heavy on the planet right now. It is. It's heavy, man. It's heavy. And that's why I feel like the messages that keep coming out, you know, they're pointing to places within you that are heavy. And that's why, you know, sometimes a lot of people, they have a hard time being in my energy sometimes. Because I'm like, let's just go there. You know what I'm saying? But there's a balance to it. Right? There's a taming of the ego, a taming of the doing and going in for the shadow work. Balance that with some fun, with some laughter. Man, I was just telling Jessica today, and I told Danny, the other day, like I was literally laughing and crying at the same time, like in the car, just laughing and crying. And it was just a remarkable expression of the energy at this time on the planet, where it's like so expansive, so transformational. We are uncovering and discovering so much, but it's also stressful. There's also a lot of pressure. Me and Jessica were talking earlier, and we've been, you know, we go through our things too. We bounce stuff off of each other, man. We hold safe space for each other. Not to fix one another. Not even to give advice. Sometimes we just hold space in love, in witnessing from the eyes of God, the eyes of unconditional love, the heart of God, the heart of forgiveness and compassion. And we just hold space to share, man. And today we were talking, you know, yesterday we talked and some heavy stuff came up, man. Like, I shared with her some of the shadow work I've been doing, and I fucking cried sharing some of it. I grieved. There were times where I was sharing and she didn't say a word. She didn't try to fix it. She didn't try to tell me it's all okay. And she just sat there and listened in stillness, in love. And then today we got on the phone, and it was such a flip from yesterday. Yesterday was very heavy. Oh my God. Not like energetically heavy, just the things that Spirit was calling me and her to step into were heavy and painful. Especially when it came to past choices, things that we had done in our past. It was heavy to witness it and admit some things to ourselves. And then today we get on the phone and it's so much lighter just from admitting some things, from setting some boundaries with ourselves, to be honest with the people we love, to be honest with ourselves. And then today we got on the phone and we literally just I was telling her about how I was laugh crying the other day, and we sat on the phone for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and just laughed. That's all we did. We didn't talk, not one word. We just sat there and laughed. And it was so healing. Oh, it was so healing. So even in the intensity of it all, you know, taming the ego from taking it all so serious, for being so attached to all the problems, and just coming back to having a little fun. Hi, Elizabeth. What's up, love? So I'm gonna have to do another live some other day. Y'all must have been busy tonight, but I'll have to do another live, and hopefully I can catch all of you guys, all the people from the tribe, and we can connect and bounce some shit off each other, exchange some energy. It's so good to see you, Elizabeth, and Gina, and Tanya, and Nicole. I think Aisha's gone. But yeah, I just wanted to get up here and talk to you guys, vibe with you guys. I know, right? It feels that way, Elizabeth. Yeah, so hopefully I can catch all of the tribe one night soon, and we can all just get up here and vibe. Maybe I can talk Jessica into getting in and hanging out, and we can have some conscious conversation. Maybe I can talk Danny into some shit. We shall see what I can do. You're so welcome, Nicole. I'm really glad that it's helpful. Because, you know, I don't always want to get on here and just like channel, you know. Because here's the thing, when I'm channeling, it's difficult to, when you're channeling spirit, it's kind of difficult to hold personality in that, right? Because it's just like divine flow and divine wisdom without, you know, whatever. So sometimes I like to get up here and just let Brooke talk. Let Brooke talk about some of the things that she's been experiencing with herself, with other people. Talk about some energy. Elizabeth, been pretty good. Been pretty good. Well, okay, so it's been a little bit heavy here and there, which I talked about a lot of that on this stream. But the last few days, after I grieved some shit, after I grieved some of my past choices, some of the things that I've done, I feel so much lighter today. So much more safe within myself. How have you been, Elizabeth? Yes, that's the hardest part for me, Nicole. When Brooke's ego gets triggered, the first thing she wants to do is fight it. Right? I'm not much of a flight person like Danny. Danny don't argue, okay? Danny don't argue. Danny does not like confrontation. You know, Danny's very like peaceful person, you know. And even when things are challenging, he's very like calm, soft spoken. And come to think of it, like, we are really different in some ways. Like, when Danny's triggered, he's, like, quiet and, you know. So here's the thing. If I'm triggered and I'm quiet, you might want to ask me, am I okay? Like, you might want to try to pull me out of that. Because if I'm triggered to the point where I'm being quiet, I'm scared, to be completely honest. If I get quiet, Brooke is scared. Brooke is struggling with something if she gets quiet. But Danny, he's kind of just like really soft spoken, and like me when I'm triggered, I'm like, ah. Which I've gotten a lot better. He has to give me credit for that. Gotten a lot better. But like in my family, like as a kid when I grew up, like my parents, they were loud and expressive, and that isn't always helpful. You know, it's good to sometimes just explode and let it all out so that you can see it. You know what I'm saying? You let the shit that's been going on in your mind, or you let the emotion that's been going on behind the scenes, you let that shit come up, and somebody sees it, and then you see it because they saw it. That can be real humbling. Ah. I know you ain't about it, baby. You are not about it. Not about it at all. So, like, with me, where I'm like very expressive, right? Why that can be a detriment at times is because I do get caught up in all the stories, and I'm just like, rah, 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 throwing it, right? Throwing it, projecting it. And then on the flip side, for Danny, when he's so quiet and calm, sometimes he just bottles it all up, you know? So, like, Danny and I have been balancing that. Where, like, I'll just kind of throw shit everywhere, and he'll just tuck all of his shit within. And me and him have both gotten a lot better at channeling. Channeling the struggle in a more productive way. Balancing the feminine with the masculine. Balancing the compassion with the stress. The compassion with, you know, all the shit, the challenges, the stuff that goes on. Tanya, she said then Brooke be brewing some shit. Yep. And yes, it has been heavy. That's what we just talked about. Man, I can. Where y'all been at this whole time, Elizabeth and Gina and fucking Tanya and I know y'all and Nicole. I know y'all are all here. I guess I was just talking, but it's so good to talk to y'all and see how y'all are doing and what the fuck's been going on. Yes, since yesterday, Elizabeth. Yeah. I'm telling you, I was struggling for a bit, y'all. Like, I couldn't even be around people. Oh, it does? Good. That sounds good. Oh, Danny. I love Danny. Right, Elizabeth? I done told y'all when a notification goes out, y'all gotta click that shit. Oh, that's another thing. This past week, and maybe a little bit of last week, I've had a really hard time sleeping. So for some of you, here is your confirmation that you are not alone. Like, sleeping is just, and dreaming a lot, and even if I wake up like at a decent time, it's just like at night, this like the energy just amps up. So I surrendered to that, right? Nicole was talking about surrendering, you know, when you can't sleep and like you're just resisting it, trying to make yourself go to sleep, getting all worried about not sleeping, beating yourself up because you're going to be tired in the morning, so you're getting all paranoid about not sleeping. Instead of resisting it, flow with it. Surrender to it. And like what I've been doing, instead of sitting there just like, oh, I wish I could sleep, or watching a movie that really doesn't help calm my mind, I've just been writing and journaling. I do my breath work. I get into the stillness. I smoke some motherfucking weed, okay? Weed'll make you see shit differently. Weed's legal in Canada, but weed will make you see things differently. It helps me so profoundly with shadow work, y'all. Like a lot of the things that I tap into, you know, you build a relationship with things. You build a relationship with spirit. You build a relationship with people. You build a relationship with substances, with food, you know, an energetic exchange that happens. And even with weed, you can have boundaries. With people, you can have boundaries. You can kind of have a structure built and trust and self-love. And a lot of the times, you know, the weed will be calling. I use a lot of marijuana, not a lot, but I use marijuana to help me with my shadow work. It puts me in my feelings. It illuminates the thoughts in my head, and it illuminates the thoughts in my head and the emotion tied to the thoughts. So that's why a lot of people, when they smoke weed, they get real anxious or like nervous or like paranoid, right? And it's because they're not used to feeling so deeply inside of themselves. That's what I've noticed with weed. Like, it'll get you straight. But having that relationship, you know, spirit be calling me with the weed, and spirit be like, bro, time to smoke some weed again. I'm like, because I know, man, sometimes like I can smoke and it's all like, woohoo, fun. Sometimes I can smoke and it really puts me in my shit. It does. And when you're high, you can't just poof, you ain't high no more. Nope, don't work like that. Don't work like that. So spirit knows that I have a connection with marijuana where when I smoke it, I set an intention before I smoke. If I want to do some shadow work, I'm like, spirit, I'm struggling with some shit. Help me see things differently. Thank you. Like, and it works. It does. It really does. Nice, babe. For real nice. Good, Tanya. I love hearing that. Did you do, Tanya, did you do the last video at the very end? Did you do the breath work? Oh my God, it is so good. It feels so, yes. So another energy I've been picking up on lately too is, how do I say this? A pretty good sign that you're connected with your masculine and feminine energy is feeling sexual energy. Like, not like lust, like turn on, right? Tapped in, tuned in, turned on. So I wouldn't be surprised if within the next few weeks it lightens up for you guys a little bit. The turmoil of it all, the confusion of it all, the heaviness of it all lightens up a little bit. And you start feeling your sexual energy, your kundalini rising. So just like when you're healing a wound, you breathe in, you know, you breathe through the emotion, pull it through the body and transmute it, right? Through breath, just like anxiety, you breathe in, relax into the body, and the anxiety softens. Same thing with sexual energy, with creative flow. When you're tapped in, tuned in, turned on, breathing in that energy and bringing it through the body. So another way that you could reference this is, you know, if you're just horny, you know what I'm saying? You be horny all the time, like captivating that energy though. See, a lot of us get horny and we want to take care of it. But if you actually just like get into the feminine energy of sexual energy, of creative flow, of turn on, of pleasure, and you actually play in that space of pleasure, can teach you a lot. So don't be surprised if like your sexual energy, if you feel that drive for intimacy, right? Fire in your loins. Yeah. I feel like we forget about that part, man. There's been so much heaviness lately, so much like pressure and stress that we haven't really been too tapped into the pleasure of it all. There's a lot of things I can go into with the whole. There's a lot of practices, different practices that I do. But like even just taking the time to just like touch on the body is the vehicle for everything, man. It is the portal to source, the body. It is not separate from source, from creator, from feminine energy, from spirit, right? And when you can connect consciously to your energy and to your body and expand from within yourself, not expanding from within the mind, but dropping down into the body and feeling the body, touching the body, tapping into the sensation of smell, the sensation and the feeling in the body of breath, the sensation of sound, the sensation of sight. A lot of people meditate with their eyes closed, but if you do some practice breath work and you get into the body, you touch the body, you pleasure the body, if you pay attention to your body, when you're going through like purging really heavy things, the body heats up. And a lot of the times what I've noticed is my body will heat up, but my hands will be freezing cold. And it's like the perfect complement, right? You have these hot spots on your body. For a lot of people, it's like the solar plexus, the back, the shoulders and the neck. That's where a lot of like tension builds. And if you just move the body or touch the body, pleasure the body, sit in pleasure, you can move a lot of that energy just by being with it and taking it from being a stress energy, like your neck hurts, taking it from being stress to like letting go of the stress, the obligation of stress. And when you feel stress in the body, you're obligated to feel bad. It's really just a sign from your body to tune back in, to be affectionate, to be intimate with yourself. And you can rub your hands on your body and do the breath work and even hold the breath. Y'all know I'll be doing that in my meditations. Where you breathe in and you hold the breath in your body and relax into holding the breath in the body. And then you tune into the senses. Smell. You keep your eyes open and you don't direct your vision. If you kind of relax into it all, you can actually see 180 of your vision, your perception, right? And that'll help you get into the stillness, into the pleasure, into bringing that through the body, integrating that. You know what's funny? I went live tonight early, and I see that y'all like to show up later, and usually I go live later. So I'll keep that in mind. Y'all like hanging out at night. Wait. Thank you, Michelle. Also, hello, Michelle. Good to see you. Thank you. You like my background? Thank you. And a lot of people are like, they're kind of afraid to play in their sexual energy, but that is like the source of all of your power. Like without sex, there would be no us. There'd be no humans. You know what I'm saying? So like it's the very fundamental root of all that exists is sex, sexual energy. Merging feminine and masculine energy. So, I think I'm going to cut it there for tonight. And for those of you, that showed up a little late, I wanted to tell y'all, I want to go live again sometime soon. Maybe I'll post in on my community, or so be looking for a post in the community on YouTube and on Facebook, the Love Vibe Tribe group. I'm gonna let y'all know when I'm going live so we can just hang out together and, you know, tap into the energy together, mirror back and forth, get the energy flowing. You know how we do. You know how we do. But I'm gonna bounce for tonight. Just wanted to hang out for a bit. See y'all for a bit. I miss you guys. I love you guys so much. I love you so much. Love you, Elizabeth. Good night. Excuse me. I know I missed y'all too. I missed y'all too. And I love you guys. And maybe we can do some readings one night. We shall see. But I will be back. I'll be back soon. Alright. I love you. I love you guys. Empress of Duality out.